Yes, Cinder, a remix of Dark Souls 3 by Rotaka. Folks, you know what that song means.
I sure as heck do.
Feels like a long time coming for this, honestly.
Yeah.
It's been like 3 years in the span of a month, and I hate it.
Yeah,
I really
that
hate
sounds
it.
about right.
It's been 10 years since you looked at me anyway.
Yeah,
No,
something like that.
get
Well,
out
10
of
years would be
here.
an even longer time, so, you know.
Shoot.
Yeah, no.
Well, welcome everybody. This is Insert Credits Round 77. I am MrBond.
I am Tormod.
And I'm Saxxon.
You can only see me wave because we're doing a remote show because of the state of things. You might remember we just kind of did this back in January because of dumb weather, and now we're doing it for March because of dumb pandemic. So amazing how that stuff comes around.
Dumbdemic.
We are actually very lucky to be able to do this, as well as all of us being able to work from home kind of during it and self-isolate, quarantine and all that. We recognize that not everyone can. But we'll do our best to do our part, and we hope that everybody else does their part to kind of see the world through this kind of very serious thing. So thank you for tuning in, watching, listening, after the fact, live, whatever. We appreciate it, and we hope that we can provide some manner of entertainment for you all during this pandemic.
Yeah.
Sounds bad.
We are very socially distant right now.
We sure are, but we are practiced up for it, so ready and raring to go. Well, not raring to go necessarily. It's rough. It's a little bit different when you're forced into it rather than making that conscious choice. But hey, we do what we can.
Yeah, it's so like, I'm already socially awkward and isolated, but dang it, I don't want to be told by any governing body that I have to be this way.
Right. I want to be this way by choice. You can't tell me what to do. In fact, it's probably for the best for the government to tell us to do that because that's a wise choice right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But still, that does lead into the title of tonight's round. Welcome, new initiates. We are already very well initiated into the social distancing aspect, so welcome everybody new to it, sort of. Glad to have you with us. Yeah, I was trying to think of a reasonably not terrible way to riff off of what was going on, and this is the best I could come up with.
Fair enough. Just wait to my game design.
Oh no. Oh no, a harbinger of things to come. Oh, phew. So, housekeeping first, as always. What are we thinking for April now, since this kind of ties into what's going on right now and what our future plans are?
Well, yeah, initially we were not going to do a show in April because of things, and now we may have time to do a show in April because of things.
Correct.
So, goodness, excuse me. Just made some delicious soup. I am not sick. Oh, wow, that is a hard question to answer right now.
Okay, we don't need to answer it right now then. We can figure it out and just do an announcement later, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we can pencil in the 17th, but that may be a time when we're doing it remotely again.
That's fine. We will have to get used to this in some manner or form because of other things that are happening. So we can do that. 17th was our former pencil in before things got laid out and very hectic and pandemic happened. So let's put that back on the 17th for 7 o'clock. That will tentatively be, round 78 now, if math serves?
It will be.
Very good. I'm going to shorthand that because I don't want to type it out. All right, and then that leads us to May, which was unaffected so far.
We have the 8th scheduled for May.
Oh, it's an early one. That's right. Let's skip right past it. So the 8th of May, 7 p.m. CDT for round now 79. I'll change that number later. Yep. Did we have June down? We did.
Yeah. Round 80 will be on the 12th.
Round 80 on the 12th. Yes. And then beyond that, I don't think we know enough to really say for sure. So we'll probably just leave it for now.
That is correct.
And that will conclude housekeeping. Oh, by the way, there's a pandemic going on, COVID-19. That's why we're doing the remote show, in case that wasn't entirely clear. But hello, everybody. Welcome. You only get to see my face this time because we're doing a remote thing. For future remote things, we will work it so that we can see everybody's faces if they agree to be seen, of course.
Yep.
That is true. We'll have to figure out how to make that work in Discord.
Oh, we will make it work somehow. We can Do it. We have the technology, and I believe between 3 really big nerds, we can do something.
I mean, video conferencing software is kind of come and gone. I don't even know what's good anymore, but we'll figure something out.
True enough. But you'd think in the year of our Lord 2020, we could cobble something together.
We can do a Zoom meeting.
How about no? I'm going to put an executive decision on no on that one.
Wow. You made our entire viewership just shiver there. Why would you do that?
You missed it, but I just sipped.
So did I, actually. So they got kind of the experience. If you're watching and if you're listening only, I mean, it's the same experience regardless. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
All right. So thus concludes housekeeping around the world. Let's get kind of the stupid, dumb bullshit out the way first. You remember GeForce Now? We've talked about it probably twice by now, I think.
That's a good way to put it. Remember GeForce Now?
Yeah, right? So last time we were talking about they had just gotten out of beta. It's full launch, and it seemed pretty good, and all these games were on board or whatever. But shortly after that, we started hearing that major publishers are taking their games off of GeForce Now, starting with Activision Blizzard. And then...
they were like, wait a sec, what the hell?
Exactly, right? And then followed not too long by Bethesda and then 2K Games. So rip all of those titles off of GeForce Now. There very well could be more that have dropped off since then. I just kind of stopped at 2K Games, which was announced like 2 weeks ago. So who even knows? Kind of unfortunate to GeForce's credit, or NVIDIA's credit rather. They did say beta service was kind of a little bit fudgy in terms of what was lined up, and it was subject to change and all that, blah, 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 boilerplate.
And all this, like, it didn't have anything to do with, like, the service or the quality of service, and everything to do with, like, those companies did not, they wanted a bigger slice of everything, and couldn't work something out, so in every single case it was that.
And this has such a parallel to like rebroadcast and over-the-air TV, which happened years and years ago by now, about who has the rights and who has to pay for licenses and yada 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 yada. The kind of conceit of GeForce Now was that you could play the games that you already pre-owned through other platforms, so Steam, GOG, whatever. As long as you owned it, you could play it through GeForce Now. Well, now that seems to be turning out not really to be the case. So its big selling point, I mean, on top of being reasonably well implemented technology-wise, is now kind of hitting the fan in a major way. So I don't really have any particular investment in GeForce Now. I mean, I could take it or leave it. Never tried it. I'm good with NVIDIA, and as far as their video cards are concerned, I like them.
Oh yeah. Gee darn, I guess they're just gonna have to open up, their market to more like indie studios and stuff, right?
They could
give them a good deal to rescue the platform.
They could really do that. I don't see them doing that, but they could do it.
That's just wishful thinking.
Yeah, sure is. I guess the next item that I have that is the next not greatest. You know how we always have the common battle cry, well, does it run Crysis?
Yeah.
Now the Switch can kind of count itself in that crowd, because the CryEngine has a variant for Switch.
Nice.
With the first game being ported to it, Warface, originally released on PC in 2012, whatever, at a handheld resolution of 540p. So, not the most beautiful thing in the world, certainly.
On a screen that size at 540p is not bad. Right.
The other kind of side eye is the quote-unquote launch game for it is a game from 2012, so that's not exactly ideal. But CryEngine is on Switch now, so net positive, I suppose. Why not?
Yeah. I'll take it.
So, one might say that the Switch isn't well armed for this.
Not especially, no. But it does have an arm, so, it's one-arm fight.
There we go.
Just wanted to make sure we brought that one home, because
just
the best jokes are the ones you explain.
Yeah, I think you wrung all you could out of that one.
I did my best.
We're very tight-fisted with these. So the next least worst, kind of crossing into neutral and maybe a little bit north of neutral territory. Remember that Super Nintendo PlayStation prototype console that people were talking about? That went up for auction.
Sure did.
The final amount being $360,000.
For the right collector, that's a deal.
Whew, that is a lot of money. The auction itself was $300,000 plus the $60,000 premium on top for the buyer's premium. I don't really know how auctions of that nature work, but that's what they told me it was, so we'll go with it. Wow, that's a lot of money for a single, unique, one-of-a-kind thing. Probably Nintendo's and Sony's closest collaboration to date. So that's neat. Don't know if it works. Don't know if it actually runs any available prototype games that may or may not have been produced for it. But there we have it. It's $360,000 for this combo Sony PlayStation prototype console.
Yeah, who bought that? It was a high-profile sale, but I don't recall the name of whoever won the auction.
I don't know. Whatever I read about it,
it's like a former CEO or something.
I don't remember seeing a name attached to it either. So high profile or not, I guess that article just didn't have it in there. I could look it up later and maybe share it after our first break here. So that's cool. I mean, sort of net positive. You would hope that it would go to a museum or something. Belongs in a museum. But hey, at least
that's going to require being donated and not won.
Yeah,
museums are not going to have that kind of money to throw around.
Yeah, that's right. So hopefully we get to see it like the National Video Game Museum. That'd be a
star
candidate
love to
for it.
That.
Absolutely.
So there's that. Black Mesa. You remember Black Mesa? We were just talking about this last time too. That
was a joke. Ha, fat chance.
I get it. Very, very apropos, very topical. I like where we're going with this. So last time we talked about Black Mesa, the fan-made, Valve-approved remaster of Half-Life 1 has now hit full release as of the 6th of March. So you can go out to Steam, you can buy it, you can download, you can play the full thing. It's fantastic. I might.
Dang, that's already 2 weeks old.
Right? I know. It's been like I said, it's been 3 years and however many weeks. Time, man. It's a flat circle.
Oh, geez.
So I'm going to put this firmly in the positive side. Reasonable people can disagree. Kickstarter workers have voted to unionize.
Okay, that's good.
Right on.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. They are the first kind of technology firm to do so, which is what makes it notable. They're not very large. There's a total of just a little bit under 100 employees, certainly. But the fact that this happened is certainly a good precedent to set.
Oh,
absolutely.
The impetus behind this is kind of murky and negative, but kind of to start from a little bit of the beginning with Kickstarter's history, back in 2015, they reorganized as a public benefit corporation, which is good, unequivocally good. But then relations between management and the typical worker kind of soured in 2018 when there was some conflict about how to handle a controversial at the time project that was taken down by management and then restored by management after worker outcry and backlash. And things kind of went downhill from there. There was some very high-profile firings, including employees that were involved in union organizing. So there was backlash about, that was a violation of federal labor law. You can't retaliate against your employees for organizing unions. And no, Kickstarter claimed is because of performance reasons, not because they were organizing a union, and blah, 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 blah. And so that ended up culminating in this union vote, which passed. So congrats, Kickstarter. Solidarity.
Nice.
I hope more companies follow suit. I think, not to get too political about it, but I fully support unionization efforts. I think workers do deserve more power in the workplace, including these sectors that we all belong to. I'm sure that's going to be a controversial statement at some point, but hey, whatever. I'm just going to say it.
It's going to be one of those things where, a lot of other people, both on the administrative side and on the labor side, are going to be looking at under a microscope. Like, they're all going to be watching to see how this goes and kind of, basing their decisions off how things go with the Kickstarter union.
Since then, there's been a whole lot of other unionization calls, including game devs, game voice actors,
Mhm.
many other sectors that are very highly technical. Some are even being brought under the large umbrellas of the Communications Workers of America, CWA. AFL-CIO is getting involved. Like
Mhm.
it's starting real good, and
So
I like
voice
seeing
acting
it.
already has unions,
Right,
and
they
they've
had already had SAFTRA and all that, so
yeah.
like the furtherization, nice word, the furthering of this stuff is very good to see. I think
Mhm.
from a employee standpoint,
Yeah.
from those of us that are not really heavily managerial or administrative roles, it looks very good to us, and I'm sure there's going to be consequences, as you said. People are going to be looking at this very closely, uh, win, lose, or draw, really. So it's a good step. It's a good step. That's what I got for some news. How about the rest of y'all?
I will continue this. Oh, let's see here. A couple games came out today. Definitely not 3 years ago. Animal Crossing New Horizons and Doom Eternal both released today to incredible excitement after both communities teamed up to hybridize that hype. Rip and tear. So, yeah. Isabel, giant gun.
So proud of my
Yeah.
sweet girl.
Doom guy with teeth set. It's the best.
Yeah, the crossovers are great.
They are fantastic. I love seeing all of them.
Telling Tom Nook to heck off. But yeah, more on Doom Eternal though. Apparently one particular PC release, normal executable had de novo DRM. And if you find the executable and you go into that folder path and open up the original folder, there is a non-DRM version of the executable just sitting there.
No kidding.
Yeah,
And,
well, they took it out as soon as they found out, but of course the executable was leaked everywhere, so you know, nobody had to remove it.
So yeah, that's a thing, and good on them. Good on them. Beyond that, let's see here. Let's get into some stupid, shitty news. Let's see. GameStop.
Boo.
Everybody hates GameStop.
Yeah.
GameStop has refused to shutter its stores over COVID-19 despite explicit directives to do so by the government.
Yeah, we're gonna see how well that goes.
Yeah, because apparently they are an essential business.
Okay, I was about to ask if you caught their reasoning for it. Boy.
I mean, every business is going to be essential to itself. That doesn't make it an essential business.
So yes, it's a self-masturbatory comment. But GameStop though, how fucking dumb. But anyway, moving on. More unfortunate news, Midwest Gaming Classic, which would have been the first weekend in April, has had to cancel this year because of COVID-19. Much like other conventions, if things are canceled, please leave your registration there. They will roll it forward. They need that money for operations because they just had to cancel hotel contracts. I hope all of these conventions have insurance for these things or have things written into the contract for such occasions.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that in no case are any of these conventions getting all of their money back for these.
Yeah, absolutely. But unfortunately, that happened, and I'm going to be happy to patronize that convention in the future when it is a possibility.
They can keep my reg money. Like I would rather it go to making the event better than demanding it back. So
absolutely. So we'll hopefully see them in 2021.
Yeah.
Microsoft has launched DirectX 12 Ultimate.
Ultimate.
Goal of bringing parity between the Xbox Series X and traditional PC graphics in a common API, which includes ray tracing, variable rate shading, mesh shaders, sample feedback, and more. So
they're kind of bringing more stuff in line. Like the ray tracing one is kind of the big one here because it's because there's you had NVIDIA and AMD kind of going at it from separate angles. Like Microsoft kind of wanted to rein in all of the the vendor specific stuff as they have in the past with DirectX and kind of unify things so that it's as a game dev, you don't have to worry about the differences so much anymore. It's just easier for people who are making that stuff.
Yep.
They couldn't go 13, huh? They had to attach Ultimate to it?
Well, you see, 13 is one of those bad numbers.
Semver!
I think it's more like I don't think that it was something that's always been planned for DirectX, but they kind of felt the need to like introduce this one before the those features kind of spiraled out of control as far as like vendor support. So it was kind of like, oh shit, we'd better make an API for this, and so 12.5, there you go.
Yeah, I'm so annoyed. Like 0.1, 0.2, even 0.5 is kind of stupid. But what 0.5 would be better than Ultimate?
Yeah.
Makes my skin crawl. Anyway.
Yeah, it's this one's for the gamers.
Capital G.
We're just going to cast Ultimate to integer and see what happens. So
oh.
Believe it.
Lol. I don't feel bad for that. But anyhow, Honk. Untitled Goose Game. It has won Game of the Year at the Game Developers Choice Awards, and it is well deserving. Yeah, it's a good time. Go play the game. The speedrun is pretty fun. That kind of thing. But yeah.
Honk of the honk.
I was going to say, if I had any milk bottles to throw over my head and then honk again, I would, but I don't.
Oh, the sounds are so good in that game, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, actually, 6 months to the day. September 20th, 2020 is when the Epic Games Store exclusivity will expire.
Good.
Hooray! I can play it in 6 months.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'll just have
I know.
to toss my Switch at you.
I could buy it on Switch. I could, but I'm not going to.
Oh, that's fair. Well, that's all the stuff I had. How about you, Saxxon?
All right. Well, you covered a lot of the really big item stuff. I have a couple other things to supplement that. Final Fantasy VII's playable demo is out now.
For the remake.
Yeah, for the remake. And it is outstanding. I mean, I couldn't help but spoil this one for myself. And the reviews are absolutely glowing for it, like almost perfect reviews from a number of different sources. And so they released enough of the game so that you could play through the end of, kind of like the introductory first reactor. And they made some interesting choices about how to retranslate and interpret some of the plot points, even in that short amount of time. I'm not going to spoil anything because I know that that Tormod is looking forward to playing it on his time. But yeah, it's gosh, having seen the demo, I'm just that much more excited about it. So yeah, there's that. And then I got some Blizzard stuff. Hearthstone's next expansion was announced, Ashes of Outland.
Ooh.
And for anyone familiar with like Blizzard lore, Outland was kind of like the setting that was featured in Burning Crusade, the World of Warcraft expansion. And so they're going to bring in stuff like Demon Hunters and Illidan Stormrage and stuff like that. So it's kind of a throwback to that theme, but for like a digital card game. So that's fun.
It's just weird to consider a digital card game, but then Magic the Gathering Arena became hugely popular. So
Arena's a really outstanding game.
It is.
I don't even play Magic, and I enjoy watching it. So
yeah, same. They did an outstanding job with it. I haven't seen much Hearthstone, but I hear it's also pretty great.
Yeah, Hearthstone is like, I don't really care for those kinds of games, really. Like, I probably won't ever play Magic for real, but that and Hearthstone are kind of the same style of game, if you will. So
Sure.
On the indie side of things, I'm told Hand of Fate and Hand of Fate 2 are excellent card games.
Oh,
interesting. That's cool.
That's cool.
I think let's see, which one do I have? Indie Box did, I believe, Hand of Fate in one of the boxes I managed to get a hold of. So I have it, but I haven't played it, and I really should because one of my close associates was involved with that. I promised him that I would play it at some point.
I'm glad that I still have my Cactus Indie Box. That was one of the few that I ended up getting.
Which one?
The Assault Android Cactus Indie Box.
Oh, right. You just reminded me of something else, but I will bring it up after you're done with your stuff, Saxxon.
I didn't know you had one too. I thought it was just me that got one.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, and speaking of Blizzard things, in WoW Classic Land, because of course I'm going to say it every time. Still a huge fan.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. The Arathi Basin battleground was opened up. They didn't release any other content, just the Arathi Basin battleground, but they have the next patch's worth of stuff out in the public test realm right now. So like the next raid and whatnot is already out there.
Cool.
And I also found out that they have they introduced this kind of neat feature, like a direct character copy. And having seen that, I'm kind of thinking, if they ever decide to do like Burning Crusade, like the expansion, in classic form, they'll probably just let you copy it to like a new realm that has like Burning Crusade and stuff on it.
Yeah.
With that feature, so who knows? It's but there's a lot of really cool, exciting stuff that's just like kind of subtly being introduced, and I'll talk more about that in future shows as it shows up.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's pretty much all I got.
Okay, so I've got one more thing, because you brought it up, Tormod, the Assault Android Cactus Indie Box. So a little background on this. Personally, I'm typically one never to buy a game twice because it's just not pragmatic for me to own multiple copies of a game. I can play it on the platform that I own it on, and that's it. However, obviously I've made exceptions. Assault Android Cactus being a big one. Oh, hey, look at that. I'm wearing one of the shirts. So obviously I've got Assault Android Cactus on Steam. I bought the Indie Box because I'm a huge fan. They did a second physical release for Switch through Super Rare Games.
Nice.
That went on sale, or was released for sale, last week, or this past week rather. 4,000 copies. I want you to guess how long those lasted before they sold out.
Probably about 10 minutes.
Okay, wow, we've got both sides of the spectrum. A little bit less than a day. They were gone. They were gone. And
that's impressive.
That is pretty good. And I'm fairly close with the devs, as it were. They were expecting a lot worse. They were pleasantly surprised. Of course, myself and the rest of the community were always egging them on, like, you guys are worried about nothing. This is gonna go real fast.
I take it you got your hands on one too.
Oh, right? Absolutely. They limit you to 2, so I bought 2. So I've got some stuff to give away later on. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's got the Switch cards, it's full color instruction manual, some other packing goodies, and all that stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be real good. Like, they did a fantastic job with the Indie Box, and I'm looking forward to all this packing stuff. Oh, it's going to be real nice. See, I don't go for trinkety stuff because it's worthless to me. But the Cactus is a real big exception because I love it so much.
Yeah, it's a great game.
All right. I swear that's the last thing I got. If there's no other news items, we can move on.
I have one.
Okay, great. Awesome. Go.
Yes. Okay, so as I've now been at least partly steeped in Super Animal Royale, a couple things happened. So initially, the only mount in the game was a hamster ball that you literally climbed inside of and ran things over with. But there is now an emu that you can ride that is a thing. Also, they ended up having a special St. Patrick's Day event, and that was neat. So I ended up purchasing the game. It's still available in alpha, whatever. On Steam, I ended up getting the Founders Edition because they had the game with DLC and the soundtrack for $20, and that's pretty cheap.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah.
ended up picking that up. It looks really fun. The community is pretty chill. The devs are also pretty chill. They like to do interactions on social media and take suggestions for things, and have encouraged the player base not to be toxic without being too restrictive. And it's in general pretty okay. So I haven't actually gotten to play it yet because games are not on my to-do list right now, but it is something that I'm looking forward to doing with Vlad because you can do things like duos and such.
Okay, so I lied. I do have one more thing that was just brought to mind, and it's something I've been harping on for the better part of this past week. But Bandcamp today is waiving all of their rev share, giving all of the revenue that they bring into the artists for the music that you buy for today only. So at midnight Pacific time, that stops. Now, kudos to whoever's running their servers over there in Bandcamp land, because they have been getting hammered nonstop since midnight Pacific yesterday. For all of this new traffic. Everybody wants to go out and support their artists, which is fantastic. Please, I encourage you to do so. And it's relevant to us because a lot of video game music artists are on there. So please, please, please go out and support artists. They get all of your money for today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even Saxxon, do you have everything on Bandcamp?
My entire discography has been on Bandcamp since 2010.
See, there you go. Cool. Go support Saxxon. Go get some music. Exactly. Go buy everything. Go put yourself into debt buying. No, don't do that. But,
yeah, don't do that part.
But maybe do that. I don't know.
You know, if you choose to, that's fine. I mean, nobody's gonna judge you too harshly for it. But please, if you've got some extra money laying around, if you've been looking at getting music, now would be an excellent time to do that. I mean, even besides today, where 100% goes to the artist, Bandcamp is really reasonable. I was actually looking at their terms the other day, and it turns out it's, you know,
they treat their musicians very well, even if it isn't like artists keeping 100%. Like they still, their cut is 15%. All right, and like to put that into perspective, when if you're assigned to a record label, you might get like, if you're lucky, like 1% of that. As opposed to, like keeping so much more. Yeah. And not to mention, like, you can get FLAC versions of things. I picked up the Celeste soundtrack, including the expansion one, in FLAC. And, it's a bit of an audiophile myself. Like, that's like the best format. And a lot of places out there don't do that. And, it's... quality is their biggest thing. So like, yeah, I am a Bandcamp evangelist, and I have been for years. So if you find your video game music out on Bandcamp, definitely get it from there. You will not regret that.
For sure.
And I've been very diligent about looking for stuff on Bandcamp, because I've just recently been asking a lot of devs, like, hey, which place do you get the biggest cut of the money that I pay for your game, for your music, for whatever? And, and every time it's always for music, Bandcamp, 100%.
Bandcamp.
Go there, go buy it there, do whatever. It's just such a shame that Steam is kind of getting into the music side of things too, because they don't offer nearly as good a cut for their stuff as Bandcamp does. But hey,
nobody offers artists 85% out there besides Bandcamp, not A1. And I looked as a musician. I looked.
Right,
nobody does.
As you have to. So yeah, there's our plug from all of us. Please go support your artists. Go to Bandcamp right now. Clear your wish list. Buy everything on your wish list right now. You won't regret it. I promise.
Absolutely.
And I don't make promises lightly, because reputation is important. But please go out there, support Bandcamp, support artists. Speaking of Bandcamp, let's get to some Toonskis, huh? We've been yakking
absolutely.
for a while.
All right. Well, I suppose it's my turn. Let's see here. Number 1, Dirty Secret by MV from Chrono Trigger.
Then a remix from Mega Man X4 entitled Mind Flip by Timaeus222.
And finally, I've got a remix titled 80s Ate My Zombies by Mike Norback and Fernito.
I dig that there was the proper stereo separation at the end there, and that very few tracks actually tend to do that. Very cool, very cool, and good. And the keyboard in there was a nice touch too. I wonder how they put that in there. A mystery. A mystery. Well, coming up on our second segment here, what we've all been playing, you'd think with pandemic and social separation, self-isolation and distancing and all that, this section would be bigger than normal. I don't think for us it is. I think it's about standard.
And I think it's, it's not necessarily that, like, we should have more games, but I think that I've been spending a lot more time playing the stuff that was already on my list.
Right, but none of us kind of fell into the trap of Animal Crossing or Doom Eternal, it seems, since that released today.
Those games just came out, like...
Like, I don't know.
You think I have time?
I was thinking about it a little. Like, should we do the podcast or should I boot up Animal Crossing? Tough decisions. I'm actually really tempted to get Animal Crossing though. It's an absolutely adorable series that I've played one entry in, whatever it was for the Wii. It's like, I don't even remember the subtitle for it, but it was adorable and calming and very wholesome. And I don't normally go for those sorts of games, so that says something about the series as a whole, I think.
Rip and tear.
Right? Like, hey, if they manage to put like a real solid Doom reference directly into Animal Crossing New Horizons, that's 100% a sale for me then. That'd be fantastic. But anyways, do either of you wish to go first? Otherwise, I can.
I can go first. My list is pretty small.
All right,
so
very good.
Of course, as you know, definitely been putting my time in on WoW Classic. About to have my second level 60, so happy about that one.
Actually, that's a sincere and genuine WoW, not an Owen Wilson.
Yeah, that is a time investment to get to 60. So. I've been putting some time into Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I was very excited to be able to showcase this. Unfortunately, that's going to have to be for another day, so maybe I'll just stream it instead. Been picking up a bit on DDR as well. I got the USB loader working on my PS2, and I think the Ethernet adapter should have shown up today as well. So that'll be something fun to experiment with.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to be kicking up my use of PS2 stuff. The AV cable for RGB also arrived since our last show, and it looks amazing. And so I'm very, very excited about that.
So what would you do with the Ethernet adapter for that? Like, what does that enable for that game? For
Well, not for that game in particular, but you can do Ethernet loading for disk images as well for the PS2.
Interesting. Okay.
And I have a Raspberry Pi that runs an SMB v1 share, which the loader is compatible with. The share was originally for like my Windows machines, but if I can double up on that and use it for my PS2 as well, I certainly will. That's got like 400 gigs on it. I'm pretty much going to be able to stash every game that I've got and then some for both Windows and PS2 and on that. So no issues with space.
Yeah, I suppose that would be faster than ye olde USB then for that particular generation.
Certainly would.
Yeah.
Because the Ethernet adapter, as we found out today, is a 10100 adapter. And of course, the switch I'm using is a 10100 switch. So... and of course the Pi is, I think that's got Gig E on it, if not 100.
Depends on the generation. I believe they moved to Gig by generation 3.
Oh, okay, yeah, this is the 3, so I got a 3B. So yeah, that's awesome. So the PS2 is obviously not going to go that fast, but
right.
But yeah, I have Gig E cards inside the retro boxes though, inside the DOS PCs, and those will run at Gig.
Which is hilarious.
That is hilarious to me as well, considering the hard disk speeds at that time were constrained to ye olde IDE ribbon cables, and that was a time and a half.
Yes.
I am
Ultra 8 133.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I am using well, I managed to score myself a couple of IDE controllers that can run at like the highest Ultra DMA settings, but of course they'll still only go as fast as the compact flash that's in there.
True.
And the bus. So
if you need 80 lead IDE cables, I think I still have some of those.
Nice.
For no particular reason.
So yeah, I've got all the cables that I need. I ended up getting some really short ones to keep the cables nice and tidy on the inside.
Right.
If I find myself in need of them, I'll let you know. Besides that, I did before the social separation began. I played a bit of Pump It Up 20. They released a new update. I forget exactly when, but there's a bunch of new songs that got added to Pump 20, which is awesome. So I put in some new records on that locally. Been picking up some Doom Engine games again. The Doom 1, the Ultimate Doom with, like the 4th episode added, and Heretic, which is a game by Raven Software that I would really like to showcase at some point as well, since it's not their first game, but it's like their second or something like that. And given that, they're a local company, and I know that's kind of weird because they do like the Call of Duty stuff nowadays, but they're a local company, so it's kind of neat to be able to showcase that sort of thing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I was about to ask if that was the same Raven Software of Madison locality, and it is. Excellent.
They did Shadowgate? I don't know.
Shadowgate, yep, that does sound familiar.
Yeah, so that was, I think, their first release, and then they turned around and did Heretic. Based off the Doom engine. They're like one of the few licensees for it way back when, which, I mean, if you knew about the origins of id Software, like, it makes sense because, it's Wisconsin. So.
Right. Yeah. Were they also involved in Hexen, the sequel? I don't recall.
Yeah, I believe so. I think they did Hexen. I'm gonna have to check that now.
Or maybe not the sequel, a spiritual sequel or whatever.
I don't think that they were involved with Hexen 2, but I think they did the original Hexen.
Cool.
Let's see. Yes, Hexen was done by Raven Software.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Rad.
And yeah, that's it for my games list.
Well, I have a list of 1.
Hey, it's still a list if you're storing in an array.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's element
Oh,
0.
that's I don't know how I feel about that. It doesn't sound efficient to me.
It surely is
whatever.
not. Plus, this is laid out in YAML, so it's ultra bad.
Oh,
nasty.
yuck.
Yeah, right?
I guess you're right, you YAML.
Yeah,
YAML's
right?
I just imagine like a Turing complete version of YAML. However, that's
No,
gonna
why would
look.
you bring that evil
No,
upon us?
no.
How dare
You're
you?
awful.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. Go ahead.
This is our radio show. This is what we do.
Yeah, it surely is.
So I got the fortitude to boot up Tetris the Grandmaster, and the first game I played, I ended up getting like the biggest PB ever.
See?
And I was just
There you
like, oh,
go.
that's a thing.
You don't need to practice. You just need to stop playing for a while.
Yeah, so that's why I stopped playing again. But
just eternally derusting.
Yeah, I want to see if I can bring up the score that I got, because I was pretty proud of it. I gotta do that real brief.
Score and rank PB, I would presume.
Yeah, and all sorts of other. Wow, Twitter just does not want to load. That's weird.
We're free.
I know, right? Wow, yeah, this just doesn't.
Oh,
That's
TweetDeck still loads if you're looking for that.
Well, oh yeah, right. Heck. All right. Well, I know it's in my phone. I'm gonna look it up quick because I'm proud of it. Damn it. Now I have F-Zero music stuck in my head, and I have no idea why, but that's fine.
That's not a problem ever.
F-Zero is legit.
It's rad as
Oh,
heck.
here we go. Yeah, I got S6. I was, let's see here. My level was 738, so I got into the 700s.
Nice. Very good.
Score was 76,124. So yeah, that was easily best game ever. So I did some S5s and another good ending game. They weren't quite as high, obviously, but yeah, no, that was a thing. I want to get back into playing things again. I've been focusing too much on other things and spinning my wheels and not playing games, and I need to go and play games and enjoy my time while I have all of this unlimited free time that I can't go anywhere else about. So yeah, that's the only game I played for the one day, and then hopefully I'm gonna convince myself to do more coming up here.
So remind me how the ranking system in TGM works. Does it start at 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then go S1, S2, S3? So it kind of flips?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Okay, very good.
So yeah, it's the Japanese dance system. So it starts at 9, goes to 1, then goes to S1 through S9, and once you get to S9, if you complete the game so that you bring your level up to 1,000 and you have the appropriate GM requirements, you'll get GM. Otherwise, you can clear the game at S9 and just be like, that's nice, good job.
Does it still reward you with Master, and then you get Grandmaster for all the other requirements that are met, right?
I don't believe it does.
Or was that 2 or 3 that started doing that?
Yeah, I'm not 100% on that. Eon would obviously be able to tell you,
sure,
but
I'll get excoriated for speaking wrongly about the TGMs.
Oh, whichever. Well, funnily enough, she's actually practicing TGM right now, so maybe you should host her afterward. But
she is h-ck.tv to go watch some Blockstack.
Heck yeah. So
hey,
yeah,
language.
I know. But yeah, no, it's good. There, enjoy that. Those of you with FFC. But yeah, no, I'm gonna try to play more of that. I want to get into the FF7 remake demo. I still have to play the new Fire Emblem. I have a lot of things that I need to play, so
I want to sit down beside you when you do the FF7 demo, because I want to know what you think.
Yeah, I'm gonna clear out the basement and play it on the projector, because that seems like the kind of thing to do. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna do all that. But no, there's a bunch of things I want to play. I just gotta actually convince myself to play.
Do it.
Do
there.
it.
That's my motivation for you. Do it.
Do it.
All
do
right.
it. Well, I guess I have to now.
You do. It's the law. All right. Well, my gaming habits really haven't changed a whole lot, despite the social isolation, separation.
It's one of those.
Yeah, one of the weird words that are now common parlance these days for unfortunate reasons. But I finished up with Mother Gunship. It was a fun game. The narrative was campy as heck, which was, entertaining for the first few nights, and then it just started to wear a little thin. So I was like, oh, that's unfortunate, but hey, what are you going to do? So we're done with that one. There was some post-game content I could have stuck with, but it was really just more of the same. So I was like, well, gave it its good go. It was entertaining for what it was, so, money was well spent, and that's good enough.
Is that game normally written out like in all caps?
I could not confirm that. In a lot of the stylized titles or whatever, it's all caps. Twitch's entry for it is just capitalized M, and then the rest is normal lowercase.
Yeah.
I want to say
it
it's all caps.
It starts off with sword, and then it goes to gunship.
Right. I think it's all caps. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like the game before this, Ronin that I had played was definitely all caps. That was both a style and a naming thing.
The Steam listing is all caps.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm gonna go with Steam listing because that's where I bought it from.
Wikipedia is not.
Oh gosh, dang it! No, why do we have this 50-50 split? Oh, stop.
Who's the publisher of this game? Grip Digital? Yeah, developer. Yeah, the developer's own website has it in all caps. So there you go.
There we go. Authority reached.
Dang it, Wikipedia.
Can't believe it. How could they lie to us? So besides that, in my normal streaming schedule, I am now playing Noita. It's a cave exploration, as far as I can tell. It's a cave exploration roguelike, not a roguelite. I haven't seen any permanent upgrades just yet, so it's continuing to be a roguelike. It is still in early access, but it is a lot of fun and very addictive, and I suck at it.
Sounds like the kind of thing I'd like.
Right? I've been playing it for 4 weeks. I don't know what the end game is. I don't know if I'm even close to the end game. I have managed to find many amusing ways to die, as one does in these sorts of games. But I still want to keep going back and playing more. So I'm going to continue it for at least another week after this week and see how we do. And maybe another week after that. Who knows? Like it would be a shame to cut this off while I'm still having a lot of fun with it. So we're going to do that.
Yeah.
On the Shmup Book Club side of things, we are in the munch. Yeah, we are in the Munch of Marth. Yeah, don't think too much about that one.
Lousy Smarch weather, anyway.
Right, the 13th month. So the month of March is Glaylancer. We've got a pretty good crop of people playing Glaylancer. We've had 3 all clears this month for this one, including myself just last night, in fact. Our game for February was Blazing Star. That ended, pretty typically. People played it very strongly for the first, couple weeks, and then it kind of tapered off until the very end. But that was a real good game. It was real fun. And then for quarter 1, which we're coming up near the end of, is still Zero Ranger. It's PC game, vertical shmup, very excellent. We're still waiting on the content update for it, but it's a great game in its own right. So we're still having lots of fun with that.
Okay,
cool.
Still continuing to play Assault Android Cactus, of course, because I'm a huge fan of it, and I plan to showcase it. Yeah, I know, right? Like, sit down. I know it's a surprise. I had planned to showcase another run of it at our... Oh, we didn't even talk about that. We should probably talk about that after I'm done here. But I plan to showcase it at our Extra Life 2020 charity event coming up in April. Unfortunately, that will no longer be happening. For reasons that we will talk about very shortly. But I'm still continuing to do runs with it. I've been doing mega campaign runs, which is campaign run with mega weapons turned on. A lot of fun. Makes it, just different enough where you can, it extends life a whole heck of a lot. Plus, as you get used to how the mega weapons work, it knocks like 7 to 8 minutes off a typical run, which is great. It's not like the runs themselves are that long to begin with. Like, you can do an easy sub-hour run, but these knock it down to 44, 45, 46 minutes. It's real fun. Also been doing a lot of Infinity Drive practice. I broke my 2-win streak, unfortunately. Last Sunday, I had won with Holly a few weeks ago, and then I had won with Aubergine a week ago, and then this past Sunday, I broke it when I was playing as Coral. Although I did make it to 43 with Coral.
Nice.
had an unfortunate series of duff ups right at the end, which kind of cost me the entire thing. But that's just how that goes. So whatever. So I guess our final news item in segment 2, unfortunately due to the pandemic and all the things kind of being canceled around us, it is the responsible choice for us to make. Unfortunate though it is that we have to cancel our Extra Life 2020 charity event in April. It was originally slated for 17th through the 19th. That is no longer going to happen. Unfortunate, but honestly, we can't make any other choice. It wouldn't be responsible of us to do that, so we're not going to do that. Yeah. Rip Extra Life 2020 for us. Now, that doesn't preclude the chance that we could do some other things individually for Extra Life. Obviously, we're not constrained to the month of April. Typically, the Extra Life major events are usually more around November. So that's still a possibility. Maybe not as a big group through 0 Hour Productions. Maybe individually. Maybe some smaller gatherings or whatnot once these other things kind of clear up. But unfortunately, our big event is canceled. Yep. Oh boy. Okay. We've been yapping for slightly less, but how about Toonskis again?
All right. Anti-Annihilation Matrix by Rebecca E. Tripp from Chrono Cross.
And a remix from Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2 entitled Misdirection by Malkos.
And I've got a remix from Terra Enigma titled Mother Earth Bound by Fate by, that's a lot of people. Manji, Katie Williams, Jorito, Joy Dreamer, and Richard Spencer.
Okay, on to our final segment of the evening, some ad hoc design.
Ooh.
My favorite segment, actually. Like, I like the news, I like talking about what we've been playing, but, you know, ad hoc design is... After 76 rounds of this, we've gotten dang good at it, I think. And that's, you know, I'm unbiased. Like, you know, I'm not involved in any of the planning and the pre-production or anything. You know, it's unbiased.
Not
like,
at all.
100% objective.
And it's definitely longer than 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah. And the really cool part is, like, you know, some of the ideas that have come out of it have, like, you know, been personally inspiring. I am still in the process of putting together one of the ideas from a previous show. I'll talk more about it later. Not later this show, but later as I get more put together. But yeah, like, you know, some of the ideas that we've had are just really outstanding. So.
Oh yeah, some of them are even immortalized in their separate design documents.
Oh yeah.
I would love to keep doing that. Unfortunately, I'm like 50 behind by now, so it would be a heck of a slog to catch up.
But hey, I mean,
fun.
You know, shelter in place. There you go.
Right? You know, the kind of the weird position we're in as part of the industries we're in, the tech sector, is that shelter in place to us doesn't really change the amount of time that we have available.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, as much as I would love to reclaim some time and just power through some of this stuff, I can't do that. I just can't do that. But anyways, back to the actual design aspects of things. If no one is really chomping at the bit to get started, I can.
I mean, I'd like to get started. Mine's pretty short.
All right,
you
twisted my arm. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I also came up with it during the last song of the session, so it's truly ad hoc.
The secret of TV. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I had this idea the whole time.
Hey, there we go. All right, first try. First try.
Yeah, first try. All right. So yeah, so I thought of like a single game mechanic, and I'm a big fan of like racing games and stuff like that, right?
Oh no.
And
okay, go on.
And so I was thinking, okay, well, you know, in what situation can we kind of turn this on its head? Like, you know, how can we have it still be racing, but like you wouldn't want to be first for some reason? And then it kind of hit me. So with this mechanic, you want to be the first to the finish line, but not before an established minimum time. And what that means is there's like a threshold of time in which you will be eligible to be the winner of a particular race. It's kind of like a futuristic setting, so you know you're going to be in like, you know, some kind of, I don't know, hover, bike, skids, whatever. And you'll be moving at full velocity the whole time. You don't have any control over your acceleration. You just keep moving. Well, maybe not acceleration, but velocity is what I was getting at. So you're just seriously moving. And if you travel unimpeded right to the finish line, you are absolutely going to fall outside of that threshold. So you need to find some way to slow yourself down. And of course, you're competing with other racers as well to try and be the first person to cross the line at the threshold without, you know, coming in under. So you can strategically run into obstacles, whether it's like pillars or, you know, like parts of a structure that are destructible, you know, because in this mode, you know, you could be indestructible, and you know you have to make decisions about like, you know, which things you want to run into and how much that's going to affect, you know, slowing you down and stuff. But you don't want to slow yourself down so much such that one of the other, you know, opponents who is also slowing themselves down is going to come in before you within the threshold. So like you still want to beat them. And so you can choose to run into your own obstacles. Well, run into obstacles on your own, I should say. Some of the collapsible parts of the environment, you might be able to like destroy something that triggers a chain reaction that slows down somebody else to get them behind you if you feel like you're making good time.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So could there be parts of these racetracks that if you destroy them and racers are behind it, like permanently impede their ability to even finish?
Sure, I think permanently altering a racetrack could be kind of neat.
Nice.
And like, something like this isn't necessarily like a closed loop either, right? It can be kind of like a slalom. Like if you think about, there's like 2 tracks in Mario Kart 8 that are like this, where you don't have laps. It's just start to finish. This is your course, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the tracks, in this kind of game mode would be most appropriate for that. Like laps aren't really going to make a whole lot of sense unless you had it where there was a threshold for each lap, which would then make the race that much more difficult.
Yeah, that could be cool.
So, but yeah, it's so at the end of the race, everything's based on a point system. The first person to cross the finish line within the threshold, let's say like the threshold's like 2.5 minutes or something like that, gets 10 points, and it tapers off. No points are going to be awarded to anybody who crosses too soon. In fact, why don't we do negative points? That sounds fun. We'll just make it really crappy and make it kind of like a dangerous thing to like come in before. So like as the race gets towards the end, people start getting really desperate to slow down.
You don't get
Desperate.
like bopped really hard away
Desperate.
from the finish line backwards if you come in too soon.
Bong. Yep.
Oh, I mean,
Force field.
that would still encourage you to just basically bounce like a mosquito off glass at the finish line until you get to cross.
I guess, but like really, really strong where you get sent back like a quarter of the course or something.
That would be kind of evil, but I like it.
Well,
Or you could have it be like a
weird
portal
stuff.
to some random undetermined part of the course
There
or
you
something.
go. Even more dangerous and risky to just
God.
power through.
It just ports you back to the beginning, and you can only cross the finish line after the threshold starts. Oh, that would be nasty.
That's rough.
Plenty of different design options you have
yeah.
now.
Yeah. And like a game like this could also have power-ups that like you could also well, not permanently, but like for a certain time period, like slow yourself down, maybe give yourself control over your acceleration, speed up all of your opponents, just fun stuff to just really mess with everyone on the track. So
Nice.
stuff like that. So yeah, and that is my game mechanic idea.
Well then, I was kind of laughing to myself as you started this because you said racing game, like I did a racing game, and
Sure
then you
did.
said it
Ooh.
can't control your velocity. I'm like, my game you can't control your velocity.
I didn't even look at yours.
I'm like, oh shit, is he designing my game for me? Or are they designing my game for me? Like, oh, okay. No, you didn't really. So which is good. No,
yeah, I finally just took a look at your notes and I'm like, okay, good, because like you made me nervous there for a few seconds. I'm like, oh no.
So game mode B, got it.
Like I didn't just subconsciously like actually read your idea and then recite it to you without realizing that's what I did I?
No, not quite. Great minds think alike. So we'll kind of go with it that way. But with that in mind, I shall go second here. So I also went with a racing game. I'm calling it an on-rails racing game. Redundancy totally intended. Actually, that is sincere. It was totally intended. But you are racing whilst grappling to a rail through an endless cityscape. Multiple rails side by side at any given time, so you can think of this as, if you wanted to scale this up to an MMO on-rails racing game, you certainly could. You just need to give you more rails and a wider cityscape to deal with,
That is starting to become generous.
Yeah, right. So rails can branch and merge, so you have multiple paths to go. It's like Sonic, but actually competently implemented.
Whoa.
It's like Sonic, but good.
Yeah, right?
Doing the rails on the Dreamcast was so bad.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to get a shot in there. It's like...
Yeah, no,
just had to do
totally justified.
06.
But, not 06. Oof. Boy, I was thinking more of like Sonic Boom's rail sections, but complicated design.
I was thinking like Adventure 2. Like, as much as I love that game, the rail section still sucked.
Yeah, that's true. But was it ever so bad it's good, or was it just it's bad? I don't really
that
remember.
Specific thing is just bad.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah. But okay, so we'll shoot for not bad then. And we can clear a very low bar here.
It is the one mechanic.
Right? So the primary conceit of this racing game is that you're always the game always tries to keep you in a very tight group. Nobody gets too far ahead. Nobody gets too far behind. You're not going to get blue shelled 3 times in a row and lose your first place. Thank you, Mario Kart. You're not going to hit 3 banana peels, lightning bolt, ink, red shell, blue shell, and then lose your 2-minute lead. But kind of the contra to this is that you don't control your speed, forward or backward. There's no acceleration. There's no braking. However, the way the game kind of tries to compensate for this is that it will vary players' speeds on its own. It'll take some sort of randomization into account and speed up players a little bit and brake players a little bit to keep them very densely packed. So there's a very big focus on player interaction. We'll call it as the more tame version of that.
Pack dynamics, yeah.
Right? Oh, pack dynamics. That's a good way to think of it. Yeah. So I'm actually going to skip this part. Slopes and inclines don't make any difference. Since you're skating or grappling along rails through a big cityscape, obstacles are a big part of this. Hitting obstacles will obviously cause a major speed loss. But then, again, since the game is trying to keep the pack tightly grouped, the game will compensate by raising your base player speed until you catch up to the rest. So it'll be a kind of a gradual acceleration or a very sharp acceleration, depending on how far behind you tend to fall. And then once you get back up to the pack, it'll kind of slow you down to kind of keep you in range of everybody. Now, since this is a racing game, that poses a problem. Like, how do you determine who is first if everybody's kind of grouped together? Well, to avoid the very prominent Mario Kart effect of blue shell, lightning bolt, blue shell, and another lightning bolt, just because the first player to cross the finish line won't necessarily be the first. The scoring system will be weighted such that it will take into account the time you spend in each position within the race. Now, it's going to be a little bit complicated to figure out position when everybody's tightly grouped, but I figure a nice stat screen at the end would give you kind of the little wow factor for it. So take into account the time you spend in each position, the number of obstacles you hit. So obviously you don't want to intentionally hit obstacles. It's an important diversion from your game design there, Saxxon. You don't want to hit obstacles, as well as the aggression toward and the actions taken against other players. And it divides it up based on players ahead of you and players behind you. So you're really encouraged to do as much as you can to F over everybody else. Whether that's, maybe intentionally slamming into an obstacle to shove it into somebody else's way, or, maybe trying to draft off of somebody else or let somebody draft off of you and then lead them right into an obstacle or something like that. So any action that kind of affects them is good for you. And that might be the difference between, coming into maybe a distant fourth or something, but since the actual placement really doesn't matter, you'll end up being first because you took the extra time to screw over your fellow rail rider. So that's kind of the basic gist of it. And then I foresee 2 modes to this. Race mode, which is a general, 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1 ad nauseum, no matter how many players are going. Race mode, so you get I'm thinking this leads more towards the very segmented races, like you were discussing earlier, Saxxon, rather than a lap situation, because it's a lot more fun to deal with new stuff coming at you than, oh hey, I'm on lap 5 of this 30-second per lap course. I know everything by lap 2. No, let's throw some new shit at me right away and make it cool. So race mode is typically that. It's, race from start to finish. Well, race in loose quotes, since finishing first doesn't necessarily mean you're in first. But that's kind of the gist of race mode. And then there's time trial mode, where given a certain seed and a certain level, it gets generated. Oh, right, proc gen. Got to get that buzzword in there. Compete for the least number of obstacles hit, the top speed you obtain, etc. And the big conceit about time trial is that you're always gaining your base on your base speed. There's never any braking, so you want to do it fast. I mean, that's the conceit of time trial as a whole. But in order to do that, you can't hit anything. You want to cut turns and whatever as close as you can. You want to do things that ultimately result in you hitting the end at the highest speed possible, which is hitting literally nothing and doing things as perfectly as you can to kind of hit the skill-based aspect of it. And that's about it. On rails racing.
Love it.
That is really cool.
Thank you. I thought so too. All right, and then next up.
Well, it's the last one, and yeah, it had to be pandemic themed.
Oh no.
Oh, of course. Please be tasteful.
I am.
Okay.
So,
I mean, there's literally a game called Pandemic. How could this not be tasteful?
Well, this one's called Isolation.
Oh,
there you
okay.
are.
That's very apropos.
Yeah. So it is a pandemic role-playing game. It is a single-player game that you would control with a controller or keyboard and mouse. Your graphic and audio style are both realistic, and your point of view is first person. The story of this game: an infection sweeps the land, crippling society and leaving it vulnerable to attacks on several fronts.
I think I've heard this one before.
Maybe. While the world is governed mostly by magic, there is no known magical protection from this infection. Adept magic tacticians must find creative and effective means of solving problems, resolving emergencies, and stopping the infection before it's too late. Your hook. The game relies heavily on magical constructs and fusions of technology and magic to act remotely, and constant stress and resolution as the player is faced with grave circumstances they need to overcome. Inventory in this game would include mechs and constructs and runes that you could use to control things, magical weaponry, communication systems, and tactical knowledge. You'll eventually team up with other people who will be able to augment your skills or form a more cohesive team, a better strategy, that kind of thing. Mechanics in this game: you control the spread of the infection by any means necessary through remote tools or as a very last resort. Direct involvement. Your objective is to stop the infection, find a means of treating those infected, and prevent the infection from affecting the world in the future, sealing it away.
Okay, tasteful. Very tasteful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to make a light of the situation.
You didn't mention toilet paper hoarding at all. That's good.
Yeah.
Except that I just mentioned it. Shit.
Oh, yeah. You know what you've done.
Yeah, I do. That's probably the silliest aspect of this so far I've found, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that wraps up Insert Credits Round 77. Any other final closing thoughts we need to make known?
Praise Banan.
Yeah,
Praise
and gosh, please help me curb my retro hardware addiction right now.
Please.
For the love of God.
Stop buying things, man.
Yeah.
Our wallet.
I mean, it's not that this stuff is expensive. It's just that I'm getting a lot of it. So.
Ooh, which package are you getting from, the Ukraine or Japan today?
Hey, those have all arrived, okay?
For now.
And exactly. they're all the same motherboard that has been super solid for me. Don't take this away from me.
Motherboard.
So how many backups do you have of that particular board now?
So I've got 5 of them now, and I'm not ordering anymore. Now there's a reason I got 5 of these. I don't want to stretch the whole show, but the short of it is these were manufactured in 2001, and a lot of them have over the years self-destructed and needed recaps. And so if you find them new that haven't been serviced, chances are they're going to have busted caps anyway. But this one Russian dude is like recapping these boards and selling them for super cheap on eBay. So I pick them up whenever I find them because like these things are exactly what I need in only this specific model board, and I don't know how much longer that these are going to be available. So
for parts, basically.
Yeah.
Or
drop-in replacements.
I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, $40 is a pretty good deal for like a motherboard that's been recapped and I know works exactly how I need it. So.
It's very valuable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also MIDI modules, but I'm done with those. I promise. Okay, that's it. That's all I got.
All right,
Just,
we good? We good with last? I kind of regret asking for last words. Usually it's just like, no, we're done. Let's move on.
Yep. No, I thought that I would just make things a little silly here with that. So.
Yeah, that's fair. Silliness is absolutely demanded given that the situation that everyone happens to be in.
Yeah.
So that is what we strive for. All right, well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us with Insert Credits Round 77. I'm MrBond.
I am Tormod.
And I'm Saxxon.
We'll leave you with our typical closing track, a remix from Mario Kart Wii entitled Wind in Your Hair by Overclocked University. Good night, everybody.
Ciao.
Adios.